Alrighty, are we live? Yes, we are. Tonight's episode is entitled Why I Hate Podcast. And I don't, but there's somebody who's Mr. Color Up who does, and he's going to try to... What's that?
Podcast.
We're talking podcast.
Why I hate combats.
Oh, combats. Yeah, why he hates combats. But let's make it happen right now.
Combats.
Yeah,
Welcome
we don't.
to the Color Up Podcast. Whether you're a seasoned player or a beginner eager to step up to the table, this is your lucky podcast that's all about the thrill and strategy of the casino world. I'm your host, Jeremy. With me is Jim the Professor. Let's get rolling.
You just had you had a mental aversion there. There was no way in your mind you could say I hate combats.
I can't even say it. Say it. I love combats.
Yeah, you just immediately switched it and put it on the podcast. Said I hate podcast, and that's fine, Jim. You know, I understand hating podcasts.
Nobody's perfect.
Unbelievable. No, that's funny. You just could
not
say the words. You could not say the words.
But tonight's episode is entitled Why I Hate Combats. And there is a person in this podcast, one person who does hate combats.
That's not true. Well, I don't want to give it away.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
I'll keep up the facade that I will plant my flag that I hate combats.
There you go.
And we'll get to talk about it.
And I will vigorously defend.
Yeah, we'll see if you got some defense for it. So.
Okay.
Well, how was your week?
Wonderful. We got Thanksgiving next week. There's only 2 days of school, and it was a great week, and it got a lot of stuff done. Anyway, I'm just excited. We're racing toward the holidays, and as the song says, it's the most wonderful time of the year to be a teacher.
Yeah, because so much days left. So do you work between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or is it called winter break? Or
No. We're not that cool in the public school system. We can't take off the whole thing. So we'll go back to school in right after Thanksgiving break that Monday, and we will go. And we'll have 2 full weeks off during Christmas this year. So that'll be really nice. The calendar worked out just perfectly.
So last night, I just got back from Las Vegas. I don't know if you knew that I made a quick little trip up. Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
It lined up with the Formula One races, but that's not necessarily why I was there. I had
what?
Yeah, I had some family there, and he actually had a balcony room on the Cosmo. So, although I didn't stay for the race itself, for qualifying and stuff, I did see. The cars
zipping on by
and practicing and that sort of thing, which was very cool. And, all around town is there's stuff going on. And then as a bonus, well, let me back up. I should say my primary objective was to visit my wife, who happened to be laying over for her work.
Okay.
So she's a flight attendant. She came into Vegas and was staying the night. So I got to meet up with her, and it's our anniversary. It was an anniversary. So that I should have said that first. I went to see her first.
Yes.
Secondarily was the F1 in my
especially if she's listening tonight.
Yeah, well, I think she's currently in the air, but she may catch me and say, "What the heck?" But so it was nice. At least I got to have breakfast with her and hang out a little bit before she flew off to another city. And then
now, how was the traffic and all that stuff? Last year there was a lot of controversy with the traffic and getting around, and people couldn't get to work and stuff. What do you think?
Not really an issue, but I kind of avoided it on purpose. For instance, like when I landed, I took a Uber to MGM, which is not quite the racetrack, and then I just took the trolley up to Sahara when I needed to go up there. Or at the kind of walk down at the southern end.
Okay.
So yeah, it really wasn't too much of an issue. And then when I flew out the day of the race, the airport was like a ghost town. Just because everyone's staying for the race. No one.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was nice. Had the Southwest plane to myself. I think there was like 100 and some open seats. And
so you flew that short flight from.
Yep.
Vegas to Reno.
Yeah, it takes about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the go-kart racing, which is really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we did a little racing myself. I guess it was F1 inspired, and
that's great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's one of the things I've thought about for DiceCon, to add a thing. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could just offer it as, hey, this.
I'm down with that.
Do. Yeah, it's kind of expensive, right? Like $100 for 3 quick races, but for those who might be interested, it's a lot of fun, really. And so anyway,
how fast do you think you were going in the things?
They said they were like 40 miles per hour or something like that.
Oh.
I mean, they're quick little guys. I think they have them ratcheted down. I think they go quite a bit faster, but
a little governor on them to keep it
a little governor
slow.
Yeah. And then it was, you had the exotic cars racing next to us, squealing their tires, and it was pretty cool. It's a whole big setup there. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
As far as gambling, I didn't play any dice.
None?
No dice. Which I wouldn't play it on the strip anyway. I would go either downtown or off strip to get better pay rate tables.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd just play here in Reno. See, it's tricky because I have access to it all the time. I don't need to play in Vegas.
Right.
I ended up playing mostly slots, and we were filming slots for my on and on again, off again slot channel, Color Up Slots. So I think we're going to we filmed a concept video, me and my brother, like a 2-man slot competition, and we're going to try to package that up and sell it. And maybe get some sponsorship and kind of get the slot channel going again.
And speaking of sponsorship, don't forget we are powered by Sports Grid.
Not sponsored, but
not
powered
sponsored.
By Sports Grid.
Yeah, we are.
Big difference, but working with them to try to get some sponsors for the show.
That's great.
Slots is for suckers. Thank you, JB. Hey, but some people love them. But there are bets on the craps table that are worse than slots. But so I'm not going to degrade my slot people out there too much, and it's just not the game for me, but we're dice players here.
That's right.
So enough of the yammering, unless you have any more questions.
No. Let's get to it.
And let's get to what, Jim? Why what?
Well, tonight's episode, I'm going to say it again, but this is not me saying it. This is Jeremy's words.
Preference it? Just say it, Jim. I want to hear
why
I
hate come bets.
There you go. I just wanted to hear you say it.
All right. You bullied me into it.
You big so yes. I guess the main comparison between a come bet is with a place bet. So I guess we should start by defining those two bets. If you're a player, you know what they are, but we got some maybe beginners or listeners out there, and it's always a good refresher. So do you want to start with one or the other? Do you want me to start? Do you want to pick it up and...
Well, we can. So let's just start with the come bet, okay? And there's some people say they never play the line unless they're the shooter and they have to do it. But the come bet, for those who are new, is just like the pass line bet. It's just starting again. But on the first roll, 7 or 11 you win, 2, 3, or 12 you lose. Boom. It's a 2-1 favorite, Jeremy.
Yeah, huge.
Huge favorite. Mm-hmm. Can you think of any other bet that's on the craps table that gives the player any opportunity at a 2-1 bet? I can't think of any.
Lay bet on the 4 and 10.
Are you a 2-1 favorite?
You're a 2-1 favorite.
Okay.
And then I've been posting on YouTube. Crapless Craps. If you can lay bet the 3 and 11, 2 and 12, then you're either a 3-1 or 6-1 favorite.
Okay,
you do have to pay a vig, but you are.
And you can lay on those craps tables.
Some of them, most you cannot, but there are some crapless craps tables that allow you. But
all right.
On the standard table, I would say
4 to 10.
Yeah, anytime you're betting with the 7, essentially, you would have a dice combo advantage. So
okay,
I'd say a lay bet on the 4 and 10. You're a 2-1 favorite.
All right, so really tonight's episode should be called "Why I Hate Come Bets" and "Why I Hate Don't Come Bets." Apparently, all of a sudden, so you threw a curveball at me.
Yeah, we won't get into that too much, but the huge benefit. Love the pass line come bet. Your very first roll for one roll only. Well, the very first roll, you are the big 2-1 favorite. Continue.
Yeah. All right, so 2-1 favorite. Then after that. If it's any other number, a box number, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10, the puck goes up there, and then you become just like everybody else, wanting to get that number up there to repeat. And if you're on the pass line, that number repeats, comes up again before Big Red, then you win even money on your money on the pass line. And then you win the true odds with no juice, no squeeze, no vig, no nothing right there. And you get paid right there on the table.
Yeah, that's the huge part of it. Because I mentioned lay bets, but you have to pay a 5% vig. So you're favored 2-1, but you don't get paid favored. Whereas with a pass line or come bet, we might use that interchangeably.
Okay.
Because they're the same bet, just one is when the puck's on, one's when the off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no vig. So amazing bet. You can't find a better one in the casino because it pays true, fair chance of it rolling with no vig.
All right. So why isn't everybody in the world doing like the professor here and playing the come bet all the time?
So let's describe what a
place bet is.
It's competitor, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I use them in tandem a lot, actually. But the big people are usually I'm a come better or I'm a place better. So a place better is a place you make your bet directly on a number. So with a come bet or pass line, the dice determine what you're going to bet on. So you don't get to pick. With a place bet, you get to pick. So you say, I want to bet a 9. I want to bet a 6. I want to bet a 4. You pick, put your money on it. And if it rolls before the 7, you win. So it's simple. It's a little simpler. It's not, I call the pass line and come bet it like a 2-stage bet. There's 2 stages to it. You know, the come out roll where you described, and then the point rolls. So once it's in stage 2, it essentially works like a place bet. Either you're going to win or lose. If it rolls, you win. If the 7 rolls, you lose. So that's kind of, did I leave out anything about a place bet?
Not to feed the prosecution side, but you have another advantage with your different kind of place bet is that you can
buy bet.
No, you can cut it off and on. Where mine's always in play.
Yeah, well, like we haven't got to the advantages and disadvantages yet, so we haven't broke those down completely.
Okay.
But I don't know how much I want to talk about a buy bet. But a buy bet is very similar to a place bet, except for there's certain situations. Well, the 4 and 10, you always want to buy them.
6 and 8, never, right?
6 and 8, never. 5 and 9, only if the vig is if you
on
win.
The win.
If you have to pay the vig up front, don't make a buy bet on the 5 and 9. I know there are places like Biloxi and whatever, but it's essentially the same thing. You're still picking a number. Buy bets just pay better. So in certain cases, a buy bet makes more sense than a place bet, but they're essentially the same thing. There's just different in payoffs.
Okay.
So with more knowledge, you would know when and how buy bets work, but we're not going to talk.
Don't worry about the buy bets.
Today.
Forget about the buy bets.
Yeah, not today. Another podcast maybe.
Okay.
So you mentioned let's get into some of the advantages of, you want to go place bet or come bet first? Or do you want to just kind of do it how you were like?
We can go tit for tat or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
We'll feel it out. Well, tell me some of the advantages of the come bet, and I may interrupt you and tell you why I think that's a disadvantage.
Okay.
And we'll see how this works out.
So one of the easy advantages for me is I don't have to think about where my money's going because I let the dice determine where my money goes. It could go, if I get an 11, it's going to my rack maybe, or maybe going for odds. If it's a 2, 3, or 12, I say goodbye. But on that first roll until the point's established. Another advantage to it is ease of mind. I don't have to think. It's just you let the dice decide. What else can I think?
And for me, I would say that's a disadvantage because the dice don't know any better than me. Why would I let the dice decide? I want to pick the number I want to bet on because I have a feeling, or I know what's going to come up, and I know a 6 or 8 is going to come up more often. So maybe I would prefer to pick, if you would like, anywhere where your come bet would travel, what number would you pick?
To me, Jeremy, I don't care.
You don't care.
But
don't care.
but
Sure.
but
That's fair. That's a good answer.
But as long as it's not a 2, 3, or 12, so I don't care.
We'll not talk about crapless craps.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole different game. And if you wouldn't want to be a come better on a crapless craps table. Half of the argument goes out the window.
It hurts.
The house edge goes up over 5%.
Yes,
There's a lot of reasons you wouldn't want to be a come bet player.
Yeah.
Necessarily, but yeah. So that's a fair answer. You don't care where it goes because again, wherever it goes, you're going to get paid true odds of what it goes to and if it hits or not.
If it hits. If it hits. Yeah. If it hits. So another advantage I think that's there is it not only when I'm, because that 11, that Yo 11 gives me another one shot as it's, going up. How, it's 1 out of the 32 out of 36 times. Yeah. So 1 out of 18. So
33% of the time the game is resolved on the come out roll. So 33% of the time you're going to win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
Just right out the gate.
Right.
So so 33% of the time you're a 2-1 favorite and the game's going to be over right then and there. So
it's hard to believe.
It's a significant part of the game.
It's hard to believe they'll let me do that.
Yeah. But the bad part is,
yes,
I think you
there
kind
are
of
some
alluded
bad.
to this.
There are some bad parts, but I'll let you, since you're Mr. Color Up, because I don't want to rip the scab off my own wound.
So your come bet goes up.
Yes.
And if you don't like the number, can you turn it off or move it or anything like that?
No, it stays, Jeremy. It stays.
Why is
that?
And
it's a contract bet.
Contract bet.
That's right. Yep. So it must be resolved either to be a winner or a loser.
And the reason it's a contract bet is because they give you such a big advantage for that one roll.
That's right.
They go, hey, if you didn't win and it goes to a number, the casino, I'm speaking the casino, we want our chance to win it back. So that's why they say, no, you cannot remove that or reduce that bet. It is there. And now we have the advantage, as slim as it may be, to win on every roll thereafter for that bet. So
that's right.
That's why they make it a contract, because the big advantage for the very first roll.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they want their chance to win it back with
every
preceding roll.
Can I respond to that though?
Yeah.
What, if you're playing the light side and not lane bets and all without paying VIGs and everything, are there any numbers that you can pick or think of that are, going to give you the advantage? Because the casino's got the advantage on pretty much all the numbers.
I don't think I understand the question.
So you said they make you stay around because they give you that huge advantage on the first time.
Right.
And then after that first roll, they have the advantage.
Right.
On every other bet on the table, they've got the advantage, right?
Yeah. If we're not talking about don't bets, so
right, not talking about don't
would
bets,
be opposite, where the first roll you're a huge underdog. After that, now you're favored to win on every roll.
Right.
But another bet, no, because a place bet, it's always at the disadvantage. You're always the underdog. You're
degrees
an underdog
of
better.
Underdog. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Degrees.
Yeah,
of
you're either 7-6, 7-5, or 9-5. Well, those aren't the true odds.
Yeah, I know.
You're the 6. That's the payoffs. But
I know,
6-5, 3-2.
I've got that on the other.
There you go. You have it in the back, or a 2-1 underdog. But if you're a place better, you're that guy who always bets on the sports team that's the underdog, just because it pays more. And you're hoping that they upset it. But in reality, you're more likely to lose than win every time you make that bet. Whereas the come bet, for the one roll, it has an advantage. So it's very unique in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say in that case, for that one roll, if you were allowed to remove it after that one roll, that would be the only way to play.
Right.
But because it is a contract, there is some room for the other bets to kind of, state their case of why they may be a little bit better.
Okay. So let's continue on. I was gonna make a motion for dismissal of the case because you say, because after that they're just a loser. All of them are underdogs.
It's hard to make a case when you're always more likely to lose and always the underdog.
And then how about House Edge? We going to talk about that, or
we'll get into that? We'll get into them in a minute. So you become a contract bet. So one of the benefits of why people like place bets is because you do whatever you want with them. You pick the number. You want them on. You want them off. You want them lowered. You want them raised. Complete control.
Complete control.
Do what? Yeah, complete control of those bets. So I would say that's a big advantage for a place better.
Now, I would respond, I have complete control over the odds.
True.
Of my bet.
True.
A big portion of it. So if it's a $10 table and it's 3, 4, 5, it's 75%, right, on the 4 and the 10. I can't do the math on the 6 and 8 off the top of my head, but $50 versus $10, whatever percentage that is. But that's I can take it off or on if I want to on that.
That's true. The odds bet, on, off, reduce it, raise it, well, up to the maximum. That would, we could talk about another disadvantages. It's most tables. So we could talk about payoffs a little bit.
Okay.
Most tables will limit how much odds you can take. So odds, the best bet. I'm not going to argue with you there. But they limit you on most tables to 3 times, 4 times, 5 times odds. Now, when you put a comparable size place bet up against a come bet with odds,
right,
at a 3, 4, 5 times table, a place bet actually will pay you more money.
That is true.
So if you go, hey, I like the a $10 come bet. And then they only allow me 3 times odds, so $30. Now you got a $40 bet.
Mm-hmm.
That $40 bet is going to pay less than a $40. Well, you would make it a buy bet, but a $40 place bet.
But not by a whole lot, right? Like take the 4 and 10 for example. $40 4 and 10 on a buy bet is going to pay what?
95, 872.
72.
Yeah, and then so a come bet would be you would get paid 30, so 30. Or no, you'd get paid 60, 2 to 1.
Yeah, 2 to 1, 60.
And then your flat bet wins 10, so you win 70.
So I'm $2 short.
You're $2 short. You would never buy it at $40. 4 and 10. So let's make it fair. It would be a buy bet, and in most casinos nowadays they're automatically buying it.
Okay.
So your 40 is going to pay 80. Minus 5% of the bet amount is $2. So
right
now we're talking $78 versus $70 for the same bet amount.
Same bet amount, yeah. Okay.
Here's another thing is a lot of people, and I've made videos of this as, so you make your come bet.
Yep.
The 4 rolls. And your bet moves to the 4.
That's right.
Nothing happened. The first roll, my bet was already on the 4. I just got paid $78. Thank you very much. You got paid 0. That's when the 4 rolls the first time. Now the 4 rolls again.
All right, here we go.
You get your $70. Okay, you get your $70. Nice win, by the way.
Thank you much.
I get paid, again, $78. So that's... I now have $156.
Wow.
You have $70. And if a 4 rolls again, what happens to you? Nothing, because you're not on the 4.
Well, unless I'm got another comeback.
You had to make another comeback.
Yeah.
So it goes to the 4. And then you'd have to see the 4 again.
Now, question.
Yes.
Typically, when the place bettors go to, they just place that 4 bet? They just place that 4? No, they're placing other numbers, right?
I mean, a lot of guys will do across all the numbers.
They'll do across all the numbers. So a patient, humble come better just puts a little bit of his money out at a time. But let's just say he makes that $78. But say it's a PSO.
Okay.
And I've got that $30 on the odds, and you've got, whatever.
Yeah, if I had $40 on all the numbers.
Yeah, or even if it's, even
or
if
it's
only less.
Pick 4 numbers, yeah.
Pick 4. If you got
I'm losing 140, 160, whatever it is, and you've lost, 0.7 out. The point would establish you would have added your odds.
At odds. Say I'm doing max odds.
40, you would have
40.
lost on the 4. You would have lost your 40, but you would have made another come bet.
Yeah.
Which would have won 10.
You're right. So really,
you're out 30. I'm out 140 plus.
Yikes! Yeah. So it's a slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as much action as quickly, and you limit your losses as you get going. So
because most place bettors, they could play equivalently and just go like, you know what, I'm going to pick one number and put $40, but they don't.
I don't know.
Let's be realistic.
The minimum is 6 and 8.
Minimum is two numbers, or 4
numbers,
and 10.
Yeah.
So and that's why we do it, because we usually place bettors are combos bettors. We want more dice combinations working in our favor as possible, and obviously a 0.7 out, that does not work.
Or even 2 come bets or 3 come bets, 3 numbers up there. If you've got all the box numbers, how many repeaters do you need, or how many hits do you need to recoup those 6 numbers across the box?
Typically 3. You need to hit half of them.
Yeah.
If you're hitting the outsides that pay a little better, a little less, but you kind of if you bet 6 numbers, which I think a lot. I don't know. If 4 numbers is real common inside.
Inside, sure.
So you need 2 to 3 hits for sure. But the come better, he may not hit any of them. All
that's
the
true.
4 with odds, the 6 with odds, the 9 with odds,
and then bam,
7. Yeah. And then it all comes down.
See, I think that, and I hate to quote other people's work here, but I just feel like the average come better, and those of us, I might be speaking to 1 or 2 people out there, who knows, maybe 3 or 4 who actually do it with me, but most players tend to be place bettors, and every one of the old books that I've read. They have different thoughts on that. The older books seem to say things like on page 36, and I memorized this. And I'm where's my glasses so I can read this thing?
A lot of the older guys, yes, they definitely seem to regurgitate the same
stuff.
For sure.
Same stuff. So one of my favorite quotes is on page 36 of the Tambourine book, Take the Money and Run, when it comes to craps. And he says on here, crap shooters make place bets because they are impatient and greedy. Jeremy,
I don't know about the greed part.
Are place bettors impatient?
To a degree, maybe they could be impatient. I would say they prefer the action. But there are reasons. Like we get to pick our number. They pay better. That's just a fact. They pay more money.
Until you get to 10 times, right? Or no, till you get to 5 times odds.
Yeah, if there's a table that allows 5 times the numbers, or 10 times the numbers, 20 times the numbers, yes, come bet. If you add that many in odds, you do surpass the place bet if you're making equivalent
bets. That's right.
And you're better off.
Mm-hmm.
Until that, if you're only betting 3 times, 2 times, a lot of players can only afford 2 times odds.
Right.
And mathematically, we can get to House Edge here in a little bit, but that's still an amazing bet at 2 times odds.
Mm-hmm.
But you get paid more with a place bet. You just do. It's just, and I think that's kind of a conspiracy of why the tables are 3, 4, 5 times odds, because the casino trains you. If you go to a casino, they will tell you, hey, make that come bet and add odds.
They do.
Why does the casino always teach you that?
Because that's the best bet in the casino, Jeremy.
And
right?
They will tell you it's the best bet in the
casino.
casino. You should always make that, and you should always max out your odds. There's a couple things they leave out of that, is that it makes no difference if you play odds or not. Mathematically, if you're talking about mathematics,
okay,
it doesn't make a difference. And this blows a lot of people's mind. But a come better who makes no odds, and a come better who has, let's go to a table that allows 20 times odds.
Woo!
After a year, they will lose the same exact amount of money, which is 1.4% of the flat bet.
Money. That's right.
Yeah. Because the odds, they just pay true. So the only thing the odds bet does is it lowers the house edge of your combined, those two bets together.
That's right.
It lowers it. But the bets by itself, it just pays true odds. So it doesn't do anything. It's a wash for the player. It's a wash for the casino. All it does is increase the player's volatility. Because if you bet more, you're going to win more, or you're going to lose more.
Or you're going to lose more. That's right.
The problem I have with that is the casino, they're in it for the long haul.
Yes,
they aren't going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And you, as a player, if you bet more volatile and you get in a bad streak and you're doing 20 times odds and you keep losing them, you're going to run out of money quicker. And if the casino goes on a bad streak where they're losing to the player, they don't care. They'll get it back tomorrow or the next day. They're not going anywhere. So that's a little bit of the problem. It adds a lot of odds, add a lot of volatility to your bet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing the casino does not tell you. So I do try to tell players, hey, it doesn't matter if you add odds. It's a great additional bet. That's the key word. If you want to add more money to your bet, odds is the way to do it. But the bet itself, mathematically, in the end, if you believe in math, you're going to lose the exact same amount. The guy with no odds and the guy with 100 times odds. So a lot of people don't understand that or grasp that. And they're always like, you got to play max odds. Do you? No, you don't.
No, you don't. Okay.
No, all it does is increase your volatility.
And hey, Jeremy, this might be a good point to remind everybody, if you got any questions or anything, we will take them and hit them up during the monster roll. Yeah. So I've
if we
seen
see
a couple
something
questions.
That stands out, we'll get to them maybe, but yeah. We'll keep trying to go through this and get most of it out. We may answer some of your questions
as we go.
It. So let's see. What else do you got for an advantage? Because I'm not seeing a lot of advantage except for the very first roll. It pays
first
less.
Roll,
you have no control. Their contract.
Well, hold on. Let's go back to that contract thing, because another great advantage of this wonderful, wonderful bet for one roll. But for the preceding rolls is if a point is hit on the next come out roll while my come bets are up there, if a 7 were to roll, big red were to show its ugly head, then yes, I would lose my come bet.
Yeah. If you have three come bets up there, they would all lose, right?
All three would lose, but I would get my odds returned to me because the odds are off on the come out roll.
By default, the odds are off, so they would return. Whoop-de-doo. Place bets are also off by default. You would lose nothing. Where the come better, he loses his come bets. So do you want a come out 7? If you're a come better, you have 3 come bets up, and now it's a new game. You're out on the pass line. Do you want a 7 to show?
Jeremy, I'm going to look into that camera right there, and I'm going to say, I'm looking for an 11.
Amen, brother.
I'm looking for 11.
The problem is no longer do you have the 2-to-1 amazing advantage.
It's not 2-to-1, but I got a shot.
You got a shot. Yeah, you got a 1 in 18 shot of winning with the 11 because you don't want. Now you're the underdog because the 2's bad, the 3's bad, the 12's bad, and the 7's bad. The 7 is no longer helpful.
On the pass line. The 2's not going to hurt me, right? With my come bets.
No, the come bets, those guys only lose the 7.
I'm talking about the pass line.
The pass line, 2, 3, and 12 is bad. Versus the one number that's good for you, the 11.
Hey.
But the bad number, now you've added 6 combos that will knock off all your come bets. Yes, you will win your pass line, but if you have existing come bets, they're all going to lose. So
rebate.
When we talk about
say I had 3. If I had 3 up there and I win the pass line and I lose 3, it's really only losing 2.
That's true.
True. So
that's true.
Everybody always forgets that. Everybody always forgets that.
You're losing 2 come bets.
It's like hedging. It's hedging, Jeremy.
The place better loses 0. Okay. Yes. So you're willing, but the fact is, we talk about this big first roll advantage. It literally is only the very first roll, because after that, and you have come bets, you no longer want the 7, just like the place better. You never want to see it again.
Nobody wants the 7.
It's never helpful.
Yeah, you're right.
It becomes a useless, unhelpful number for the rest of the time playing until all your bets are down and you completely restart, because you don't want to see the 7.
You don't want to see it.
Better. No.
But even Superman has kryptonite, Jeremy. So there's holes in the armor, but it's a great, slow, steady way to play.
Yeah.
And you let the dice pick the numbers. You don't have that pressure.
Yeah, you've said this before.
Yeah, it just just let the dice, because you can think, you can hunch, you can hope, but the dice are going to do what the dice are going to do.
That's true.
So
that's true. Yeah, for me, I'm going to go up on the 6 and 8, because there's 10 ways to roll those guys.
Yes, there are.
Or the 5 through 9, because now I have all half dice combinations, while your come bet that you have no choice over goes to the 4.
No choice.
Only 3 combos. Hey, that's how I play. I would rather take my chances with combos, and you're over there stuck with whatever number that the dice gods give you, and good luck with that.
Okay.
And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. There's certainly a reason why it is one of my standards, and why I always show it at the end of my videos of one, because all the professionals say this is the way to play, and I think this might be a segue to how we get into the math, where
yes, go to the house edge.
I don't have a whole lot to combat you with on the math. But yeah, this is place betting, come betting with odds mathematically would be the way to go, and that's why I call it a standard. And then I run a don't standard, which is the exact opposite. So you'll see they're technically almost always completely opposite.
That's
just
right.
Depends on how the dice roll. You're either going to have a good day, or a bad day, whether you bet the don't or the pass, because they're just opposite. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. So my bets are completely flexible. I win on the very first time that the number rolls. They pay more than come bets with odds. It certainly seems like enough advantages to me already, but we'll continue.
But don't forget, you put a lot of them out there. At least 4 inside.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 if you're going extreme inside.
Yeah.
I like my 10 combinations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes it is a little more expensive. Okay, so let's go the math. The math for the come better is pretty easy.
Yes.
1.4, 1%. I won't get into, there's a difference between bets made and bets resolved. So sometimes you'll see like the house edge says like 1.35 or 1.41, kind of technicality, but how most people, that's like if you make the bet and then, anyway, it's bet resolved 1.41%. That's the math.
That's what I got. So yeah. 1.41.
The odds is just 0. So add as many as you can afford. It just pays fair. So there's no house edge there. I mentioned before, as you combine it, it actually lowers the combined bet. So if you have a $10 bet on the come, it's 1.4. If you add odds of $10, now combined, I don't know the numbers. I think it goes down to 0.8%. I don't know if you have it broken
down.
About
for which one now?
As you add odds?
Yeah, it continues to drop, the overall between the two. And it depends on how many in odds you add.
Right. So I think it's like singles odds. It might be 0.8. I think double odds might be 0.5%.
And then once you get up, if you get up to like 10 times or 20 times, 100 times you get down.
It's like 100 times, I think it's
0.002%. It's almost a coin flip.
Yeah, it's a coin flip. But again, can you afford $10 and then
the volatility
1,000 in odds behind it every time? That's what we're talking. We're talking about $1,010 bet to get down there. It's essentially a coin flip. Cool if you get, if you got that kind of money, if you want to do it. Yeah, it might be a fun game for you. But for most people, even so, the place bet does pay more until you're above 3, 4, 5 times odds. But if you do like the come bets and you make just 2 times odds, so if you like, man, I feel comfortable, $10 bet, or a lot of tables are $15 bet and 2 times odds, so I'm going to add another $30. So I'm in the $30 to $45 range.
Yep.
per bet, I'm comfortable there. I think it's like a 0.5% house edge. That's it's a very amazing. That is way lower than anything else you can get in all the other games. Better than baccarat, better than blackjack.
Better than the place bet too, right?
Oh well, we haven't got to the place bet.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. If you're talking about math, if you say, you know what, I'm gonna, because blackjack players do this. Based on the math of the game, you play perfect strategy, you get the house edge under 1%, or if you can card count, you could actually turn it positive.
Wow.
In the players, and that's why they'll kick you out of the casino if you're doing that. So they don't allow that, or now they have automatic shufflers. They don't want that. But they do allow you still to play mathematically, technically perfect, according to the math. It's like 1% or below 1%, a little bit below 1%. But you could beat that with a come bet and double odds. You can get even lower than blackjack. So it's a great game mathematically.
Now, can I say one other thing in case there's anybody new out there listening?
Yeah.
When you say the house edge, it's a great bet. No, what's the house edge? How do you explain that to beginners?
House edge is what the casino expects to keep from each bet that's made.
Okay.
It's just the percentage of the bet they're keeping. It's their commission, their vig, their whatever. So they know if you make a come bet and double odds, they know they're at least getting 0.5%. It's not much out of that. What do we say? $30 bet or $45 bet. They know they're getting 0.5% of that. No matter if you win or, well, if you lose, they take it all. But
right.
Even if you win, that's why you can't beat the casino. Because even if you win, they're not going to pay you everything that's due you. They're going to keep the 0.5%. So that's why which is great. But if you have a bad bet that's 10%, you think about a bet that's 10%.
Right.
So if you lose, they take it all. If you win, they go, you know what? We're going to pay you, but we're going to shave off 10%. That's our.
We're going to give you
edge.
90%.
Yeah, we're going to pay you 90% of what you should get paid. We're going to shave off 10. So you go, dang, 10%. That's not a good bet. That is correct. You talk about slot machines, they typically shave off about 10 to 15%.
Wow.
So that's why it's not a good bet. Roulette, 00 roulette here in America is most popular. It's over 5%.
Over 5.
They
right.
just, no matter if you win, they're keeping 5%. So that's the house edge. It's just built in of what they short you on what you should be paid. So obviously, the lower you can get that, the better off you are. It's just like anything, like low. I want a low interest rate on my house mortgage or whatever.
Sure.
Because you don't want your money going to the bank. You want to keep as much as possible. So it's kind of similar to that.
Okay.
It's how much they're shaving off the top before they pay you.
And that's pretty important in the game of craps and in gambling in general, correct?
This is where I can argue with you a little bit.
All right.
So for the casino, they cannot lose because I said they either take it all from the player, or even if you win, they're shaving off.
That's right.
Right. So they're getting theirs. They don't care if you win or lose, they're getting theirs. Now, 0.5% doesn't sound like much, but it adds up thousands of players, thousands of hours over time. So it makes a big deal. For the player, is there a difference between 0.5% and a 2% house edge? That's the big question.
And the answer in most economics classes is it depends.
Yeah, it depends. So the longer and the more you play, yes, it doesn't make sense to make 2% bets when you can get a 0.5% bet. Always. It's like, why would you play 6-5 blackjack, for those who know the numbers, when you can get a 3-2 blackjack? It just doesn't make sense. So you always want the better math in your favor if you can. But that's based off of this. This is all theoretical math that's based off of infinity.
Okay.
The casino is going to be around for infinity, so they can actually calculate that and go, you know what? We're going to win some, we're going to lose some, but I guarantee you it's going to even out at the end of the year or whatever, and they can count on, hey, we're getting our shavings, we're getting our little piece. The player is going to play once a month, maybe once a week. Maybe they're playing 3-4 hours. They got to get lucky, Jim. So I'm gonna embarrassingly talk about how bad PlaceBet House Edge is, but either the 5 is going to roll in your,
or it's not.
So either, and okay, let me tell you, the 5 and 9, 4% House Edge. That's real bad when you compare it to a come better who went to the 5 and his is 0.5%, right? So 20 times as bad, I guess. I don't know the math on that, but
it's pretty significant.
It's very significant, but that
we're not there for infinity,
right? If both of our bets go to 5, and after we both agree, hey, once this game's over, we're going to go home. Either the 5 is going to roll, and I'm going to win and get paid more, by the way, or you're going to win and get paid, or we're both going to lose our complete bet. We're both going to lose $30.
Mm-hmm.
So you go, where's this magical House Edge? I technically lost 4%. You technically lost 0.5%, but we don't see it.
Right. We're both zeros.
Yeah, we either won our bet or we both lost the bet.
Mm-hmm.
So the math really only comes into a factor over multiple rolls and multiple resolutions and multiple times in the plan. So that's why, yes, if you're worried about the math and you think it is a deal, and the mathematicians will tell you.
If you think math is real, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Believe the science, trust the science.
Yeah, I would say science shouldn't be trusted. We won't get into that conversation, but science is supposed to be questioned. That is the whole definition of science.
Okay.
But the math is the math, and it can be proven that if you play for 100 years, the come bet, you're only going to lose
1.4.
half 1.4 if you add odds.
Or odds get it down to 0.5.
Yeah, let me put it this way. If you're a come better, play odds. There's no reason to play a come bet flat necessarily. I mean, if you're going to make that bet and get paid less, you can't have control of it, you might as well add odds so you can get the mathematical, because that's the only thing I've heard out of your conversation that you have the advantage on is you're patient.
Yeah,
I don't have as much in your favor.
I don't have as much money at risk at any given time, right?
The long-term math is at your favor. The short-term math we just discussed.
We're both trying to get lucky.
We're both trying to get lucky. So, yeah, the long-term math though is in your favor. But when do we hit that long-term math? In my opinion, we as players, we just don't hit it. So, yeah, place bet. 4 and 10, 6.6%. Very bad bet. 4 and 10 place bet. That's why you want to buy it.
Get a buy.
You want to buy it, but you can't buy it till $20 most places. But then it's one something percent. I think it's 1.67%, something like that. Significant. It makes it it goes from a bad bet to a good bet. Don't place bet the 4 and 10 unless you have to. 5 and 9. It's very rare that you can buy it, so it's 4% House Edge. It's just what the 5 and 9 is. Everyone place bets the 5 and 9. Technically, it's not a bad bet. It's better than roulette. You're still better than beating House Edge on roulette, but on the craps table, there's a lot more better bets. If you're worried about the math, you should not be making place bets on the 5 and 9. And then the 6 and 8 is actually. That's why most players play the 6 and 8. So not only do you get a lot of great dice combinations, but the House Edge is only 1.52% versus 1.41%. You're talking about a dime for every $100 bet difference.
Yeah, that's
very good bet.
Full disclosure, as a come bet lover, if I can get up a little bit, the first two numbers and usually the only numbers that I'll ever place.
Very smart play. So. Yeah. If you're worried about math, that's what I say. And I kind of mix it up. A lot of times I'll start with the 6 and 8, and then I might make come bets to replace them, or I'll buy like the 4 and 10 again, because you can get that House Edge down, and they're good mathematical bets. So if you're worried about the math, come bets and odds, 6 and 8, very acceptable. A lot of people talk about the 2% rule. If you keep the House Edge below 2%, you're playing a pretty darn good game. compared to rest of, the casino and all the games they offer. So yes, come bets, technically long edge, a long game. You do have the advantage according to the math, which is funny because that's all the game it revolves around. But
right.
Yeah. But yeah, you're either going to win or lose that bet. Come on. You're not, there's no difference between 2% and your 0.5% bet. Come on, get out of here with your stinking math.
Okay. All right. I'm backing up.
Because you're not, guess what? With all this math, the math ain't math and you're not beating the casino. So,
and neither are you.
That's true.
Neither are you.
So we're both getting lucky. Either I'm going to overcome my 4% edge or you're going to overcome your 0.5% edge. But guess what? Neither of us are pulling off some miraculous bet to beat the casino. It just ain't happening unless you're card counting and blackjack.
And then, yeah, you have the advantage.
As far as I know, that's the only game. There are a couple situations where if you play coupons or video poker, but yeah, blackjack is really the only game that you can. You find a broken wheel in roulette, but the game of craps, there's no way to gain. So you can lower it as much as you want. Like we talked about, 100 times odds, right? That $1,010 bet, 0.002%.
You can lose on that one too.
Yeah. And over time, you're never going to beat the casino because they always scrape. They always scrape that.
Get a little bit of something. Got to pay for the lights and the employees and
they're not doing too bad, right?
Yeah,
that's why each one's more beautiful than the next, right?
Yes,
because it is a very good business. But a lot of it is, they would not be around if it was just like blackjack, baccarat, income bets and odds, right? They don't make their living off of that. I don't know what the math is. Off the top of my head for craps, but the average casino hold is like 12% or something. And you go, wait. How in the world does the casino keep 12% whenever there's bets that are 0.5%, 1%, 2% in craps? Right. Because going back to the patience, a lot of these players, they throw the money in the middle where you get 11%, 14%, 16%. You
ATS 20% or whatever.
20%. Yeah. And the players love it. No patience, more action. And so the casino's collecting way more than 1%, 2%. They're collecting over 10%. It's incredible. But yeah, they wouldn't be as fancy as they were if players were patient and they stuck to the good games and the good bets. But we just like to have a good time and
the other defense I will say on the come bettors is, we always say the place better said, well, you got to hit your number twice, right? That's what everybody says. You got to hit your number twice to get paid. And I've already gotten paid. But usually the place bettors, they're pressing their bets. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are. They're not collecting.
They're putting more money
3 times. They're putting more money in there. So they're, are you really any different than me? Do you want that number coming back? Say you get 2 or 3 hits and you press up. Have you really gained anything? It's better to be a little patient, but everybody's got different ways of thinking about it.
No, it's a good point. Press bettors, they're not collecting on the first hit. Sometimes not even on the second. Some of them keep pressing and wait for like a third hit because they want the home run, right? So yeah, I mean there are.
So in addition to having more money at the table at risk, and then if they do win on a couple of them and they press them or 3 hits, they want the home run. It's a slow, patient way to play. And
it does. It has built-in money management, like
time, longevity, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Whereas a place better, if they are not disciplined and controlled, they could be a little wild and can get out of control. Certainly can. But sometimes it works out in their favor. They get lucky, and guess what? They can bump it up too, and then they hit it on the third time, and they're like, "Woohoo! woo, my $10 bet is now 80 and I just hit it.
Yes,
so,
I understand.
I mean, that's the gamble part, but you could do the same with come bets and odds. You know, you increase your come bet.
Increase the base. Yeah, if you want to.
Or
yeah,
you can add more in odds. So
mm-hmm.
They both have advantages and disadvantages, and that's why I tongue-in-cheek make videos saying that I hate come bets, but the reality is it depends on your personality and how you like to play. One way is not better than the other. It just depends on how you like to play, I think. And I would say that the come better probably more of a more disciplined player. The place better is more of a gambler. I don't know.
I mean, we're both gambling. If you play, you're gambling. But with how much and how much action do you want at the table? That's the one thing I've noticed. And we didn't talk about the center bets too much and all, but there's people who want to have action on every roll. That's why the Iron Cross has such a great fascination, because any number and you can win. Or I think you just came out with a video this week on crapless craps, and any number but the bad number wins.
Right.
And that was a fun one. I watched that, and the whole time I'm watching, I was like, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of money out there. But to each his own. If you want to play that way. That's fine.
And exactly. And please don't be those people who criticize how other people, because guess what? You are not a craps professional. You're not doing this for a living. Neither is the guy next to you. So to judge him and say, come bets, odds. No. I'd rather get paid the first time it hits. I'd rather have flexibility. I'd rather get paid more, all the advantage of the place bet. But on any given night, just the guy with come bets and odds could clean the clock of the place better, and vice versa. So, I would just say let the man next to you or woman play however they prefer to play, because you are no genius.
None.
No one is beating this game except for the casino itself. So let the person
let them decide.
Play.
Let them play. And we're all rooting for the same team, right? We're happy when we win as a group. And for the most of the people, and what would you say, 90% of the people, they're playing on the light side, and we're all cheering. That's why
as long as numbers roll,
yes, the table's erupting. They're
4,
happy.
I mean, the come better and the place better. 4, yes. 5, yes. 6, yes. So,
and I admit as a come better sometimes when I only have 3 numbers out there, and everybody else, the other ones are hitting. I was like, oh my gosh, you feel like you're, I don't know, dodging bullets, or the bullets are dodging you, or they're hitting you instead of hitting the numbers.
I do want to add one last thing. Would be
go ahead.
A lot of people. You talk about having 3 bets up there. That's most commonly called the 3-point Molly.
Mm-hmm. And
there is no really rhyme or reason to why you would stop at 3. That's kind of like a built-in just safeguard for yourself, right? So you get 3 bets with odds, and you stop and let some resolve, because mathematically it doesn't matter whether you make 1 or continuously make them.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just forever keep making come bets and fill up all 6 numbers with odds and then keep going. And if the roll's long, hey, even better for you. If the rolls ends on roll 7,
not so good,
close to the average, not so good, because then you fill up every number. So most people have kind of said, you know what, a good balance is 3 come bets with odds, because you get good action, couple numbers, you're still being patient, but you're not like, it's not all out there and covering all the numbers. So there is no technical reason to stop at 3. It's just kind of a good traditional number that people stop. Some people will only do 2.
Okay.
Right. And if you want to play 4, play 4. Mathematically, it doesn't make a difference. You want to play all 6 and keep going, keep going endlessly forever.
Same thing with the place better, right? They can do all 6 box numbers, or they can do 3 or 2 or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So why 3? It's not magic. It's just
money management,
money
check,
management
whatever.
Reason. Yeah. That's why. So good money management reason. For place bettors is 4 numbers, whether it's the outside or the inside or whatever, or a combination. A lot of them. I don't see it a whole bunch of people cover all 6. So they might cover 4, and if they win some, then cover
they go
the spread,
across. Yeah, the spread.
Yeah, and again, you can mix and match. So, like Jim said, is sometimes he's got profit, and he doesn't have the 6 or 8. He can.
I'll place it. Yeah,
place bet. So you can do that. You can mix and match, and that's what's so cool about this game.
And then the other. I know you want to wind it up.
I don't know if we get a verdict. We can leave the audience.
No,
give it a verdict.
Yeah, they can make their decision. But what I was going to say is sometimes when I make those place bets on those come bets, if things are going well, once the place bets hit, I'll use the winnings from the place bets for the odds.
Odds bet, yeah.
Yeah. So
I like to that too. A lot of times 6 and 8 come bet, and if it hits, guess what? That place
50
bet just
and odds,
paid for my
3 or 4.
odds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Get it up there.
Down with odds and cool. Good conversion there. So
absolutely.
I think we've kind of wrapped this up. You want to go ahead and maybe list off your final, what do you call it when you're in the courtroom? Your
closing arguments.
Your closing argument for a come bet, Jim.
So my closing arguments for the come bet are, it's a very patient way to play. Mathematically, if you believe in the math and like the math, it's a nice way to play. Yes, there are, I will admit, some people say disadvantages, if you will, to not being able to turn off your bets, although I don't see a lot of place bettors doing that all the time, unless the dice go off the table, which is tragedy. But yeah, it's just a different way to play. It's fun. It's autopilot. The dealers look out for you. Everybody's on the same page. You can add the dealer as a dealer bet, just like the place bets, and do that. So, but yeah, is it magical? No. Is it guaranteed? No. Have I been at the table when the place bettors have won? Absolutely. Have I been at the table and won when the place bettors sometimes lose? Sometimes. And then there's other times when everybody's winning, and that's why we play, because we're hoping for that long run to have those outliers out there. So yeah, it's a nice way to play. You get a little rebate if you get 3 come bets up and the come out 7 rolls, you get your rebate. But other than that, yeah, it's not a bad way to play. It's fun for me, and it's very simple. So that's my closing argument. I lay my case.
Rest your case, yes.
Rest the case,
okay.
Not lay it.
Gentlemen and ladies of the jury, I present to you the closing argument for the place better. Sure, mathematically, maybe not as good as a come bet, but I would argue the math does not matter when you're playing for a couple hours or for the weekend. Throw that advantage out. So the math doesn't matter in the short term for us as players. We got to get lucky. So if we're going to get lucky, I want to be able to pick what numbers. And with place bets, you can pick the numbers. You choose whatever number you like, the ones that have the better combinations or the ones that pay better. But the great thing about place bets is you get to choose. Not only do you get to choose which numbers, you get to increase them, you get to decrease them. If you got a funny feeling and the dice go off the table, you just pull your bets off, unlike the come better. So he can't do anything. He's stuck with those bets. And so not only that do you have full control over these bets, they pay every time the number rolls. You don't have to wait for moving bets to travel and then get paid and then reset it again. They get paid on the first hit and every hit that you leave your bets up. They get paid more than an equivalent size come bet with odds until you're above 5%, let's say, across all the numbers. But a 3, 4, 5 times table, you just get paid more. That's just a mathematical fact if we're talking about math. And lastly, it's more fun to play place bets. You get to pick your numbers, other people, and you look like a genius whenever you go, you know what, give me the 4 and the 9 and the 4 and 9 roll, and the come better, he don't even get to choose. He's playing a mindless game. In this game, I get to choose as a place better.
Your Honor, move to strike. Mindless players. That's a personal insult.
Sustain, probably sustain.
Yeah.
Probably not overruled there. You
sustain,
probably,
yeah.
I probably would not be allowed to say that, that you're mindless. I would say the place better gets to use their mind more because they're picking and choosing, and they can go off past history if they like.
Look for trends.
Look for trends.
Control the dice.
Control the dice. There's a lot of stuff
all
in
of the
favor.
above.
So with that, I would say the place better is just a cooler craps player. And with that, I rest my case. All right, good episode today, Jim.
Right back at you.
Yeah, I think it was a fun topic, and we will get back to another episode next weekend. Our regular time is 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Sunday nights, powered here by Sports Grid. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting apps. I think we're everywhere now. Podcast, Spotify, and all the other things that it trickles out to beyond those. So definitely, I just looked. We've got like 6 5-star reviews. So go in there, leave us some feedback, give us a 5-star review if you'd like the show. And what we do after the show now is we head to the Monster Roll and check out what the viewers have to say and maybe give us a verdict, how we did.
Yeah, let's see the
Jim
verdict.
had an assumption that maybe, there are more place bettors. I don't know.
I think they're 95%. Maybe 90%.
I don't know if it'd be that high, but
it's pretty high. It's not a lot of come bettors.
Not a lot
going
of patient
players. Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, but we're ready for the Monster Roll,
which is one of the key features of it. So,
yeah,
you want to start at the top and just
I'll start at the top. You start on the bottom, and we'll get going. Let's see what we got here.
Right at the bottom, Gio says, "If you're not the shooter, is it worth it to play the pass line if you don't play odds?" Well, it kind of goes back to the argument of odds or not, it's an additional bet. Whether you play odds or doesn't, mathematically, it doesn't make a difference. Now, I would argue if you're going to be a pass line or a come better, add odds, because that is that's the great reason you play it, is to get a lower house edge on the overall combined bet. So, again, it just kind of depends on your play. I mean, we've kind of discussed it both ways.
And you got a 2-for-1 advantage on that first roll.
2-for-1 advantage on that
at least one shot at the apple.
Yeah, which doesn't happen in the game. So if you want that, go for it. There's no right or wrong answer. If you're not the shooter, a lot of times, and I'll show these strategies a lot, as a place better, I don't make the pass line if I'm not the shooter. I wait for a point to be established and go from there. So there's a lot into that question. I'm not giving you an answer, but it's like, it just depends. If you want to play odds, mathematically it doesn't matter. If you like, it just depends if you want to do the comebacks.
But that's the whole thing. If you're going to be on the pass line, to me, you're going to put odds back there because it's just an even money bet, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to even money bet with low house edge, that's okay.
Yeah.
But even money bet, there's a lot of bets on the board that pay even money.
Well, they pay better than even money.
Yeah, so, I know, but I'm saying if you just picked a number, a field bet or whatever is a one roll bet. Yeah. If you wanted an even money payout, but you're right, they do pay better than that. So.
Right. The reason would be for the very first roll, and the fact that you can add odds and get paid better, with that portion of the bet than a place bet. So, if you're worried about the math, then make the pass line bet with odds. If you're not going to play odds, I probably wouldn't play it. There's that one roll, again, it's the very first roll, because after there's established come bets, you don't want the 7 anymore. So there's not a whole lot of reason to play that game as a flat better. The reason would be to add odds and get that math.
At least single odds, yeah. At least single odds, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to some other ones. We got some folks saying hi. Some of our regulars, Ken, Wary Buyer, and then our buddy Jeff. Another Sunday, another Color Up podcast. Thank you for your support. Yeah, that's nice. And then Joe with Craps Master Journey says a big hey. And then, here's one when we were talking about at the beginning of the show. JB Jordan sounds like he's not going to be a fan of Color Up slots with your brother there. Yeah, it's all right. We're all good on that. Let's see what else we got up here.
Tom summarized this, I think. Jim, let the dice do the betting.
Yeah.
Jeremy, don't let the dice tell you what to do. At least try.
There you go. Tom, that's yin and yang right there. We should have had Tom on here today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see what else. And yeah, that's the big key. Everybody kept saying the key is it's 2-for-1 for only one roll. But I say it's better to have that one roll.
Yeah, the place better never has the advantage. Every time they make the bet, they're an underdog.
Yep, right from the get-go.
Here's one from Matthew. Best bet in the casino, a don't pass and don't come bet that has traveled. Pays 1-to-1 with an advantage. No other game in the casino offers that. So the difference between a don't and a pass is 0.05%.
Just a little bit better.
Yeah,
little bit better.
Microscopic better. But technically, the don't side is better. And it's just reversed. So the first roll, you're an underdog. Every roll after that, you're the favored to win.
That's right.
So,
but the other thing is, if
you have to bet more to win back less.
Yes. Yeah.
You need a bigger bankroll. You're going to win more often, but you're going to win less money. And as a don't player, you're kind of capped out on how much you can win. Whereas the light side, the longer the roll goes, the more they make money. So there's just some dynamic differences to it. But
I will say this on those, and I've seen this happen many times. This is one thing I admire about the don't players when they're doing don't come bets, is when that 1-7 hits, they all get paid. Whereas when that 1-7 hits, me as the pass line come better, we all lose. Yeah,
and the don't guy only, let's say he does the 3-point dolly, the same thing. He gets 3. He will only lose one bet at a time, one at a time. And so it's like, oh, I got hit once. He can make a decision, because with his bets, he could technically pull them down and be like, you know what, I'm afraid of this shooter's going to keep rolling, and knock my other numbers off. So there's some advantages of the don't, but that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, technically, mathematically, again, long-term math says it's better. Short-term just depends what the dice do.
And then I got one from our number one fan.
Checking in,
Yeah. And by the way, she has a nice haircut. She posted a nice picture on Facebook. Don't know if you saw it.
It's not like mine, is it? It's like
no. She has much better hair than you.
With a 7-11, you went on the first comeback and the last comeback. The last comeback is small compensation for a slew of losing. Yep. Little rebate, but again, you're never rooting for it. Typically, there's a very rare instances where you want that 7 to show, even as a come player, but it is a small consolation prize for sure.
Yeah, let's see. Now here's one here. We didn't talk about this. I actually thought about this week, and maybe you could do this as another episode. Remember the Road Gambler? And he was the guy who made these monster put bets and crazy odds on them. And
where'd the comment go?
Oh, I'm sorry. I moved my mouse. There it is. So JB Jordan said, better say place my number so you don't get a put bet. So he was saying that you don't get the put bet. And I bet you most people haven't even heard of a put bet.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk a little bit about the difference between a put bet and a place bet?
Well, a put bet is more closely aligned with a come bet with odds, because that's exactly what it is. The only difference is you don't get the advantage of that. It has no come out roll with a put bet. So you don't get that first roll advantage where you're a favorite. You win with the 7 or 11. So essentially what it is you put your money directly on a number. So in that sense, it's like a place bet. You get to choose. I want to put on the 5 with my $10 flat bet and $50 in odds.
And are they going to pay exactly as the
They
come
will
bet?
pay exactly as a come bet. So 1-to-1 for your flat bet, and in case of the 9 or the 5 or 9, 3-2 for your odds bet. So how it breaks down is you never want to make this bet,
right?
Unless I think it's like at the if you're at a 20, it may be 10, but I know for sure it's at a 20 times table, which again is rare. Like some local casinos in Vegas, whatever, have it.
Not anybody I know.
But in that case, making a put bet, the math does make a better sense than a place bet or a come bet. Not house edge wise, but it'll pay better and that sort of thing, where it's not a terrible bet, but you have to be able to make 20 times an odds for it to make sense to make a put bet. Otherwise, just make a place bet in all circumstances. So it may be as low as 10 times
10 times
odds.
odds. I have to do some research on that.
Yeah, it's not
I don't know.
common for a lot of tables. You're talking 3, 4, 5, or 5 times tables are the most common. In those cases, it never makes sense to make it. Well, there is a rare case. Let's say you have a place bet at table max, or you have a come bet and you're at table max and you still want more money on that number.
You can squeeze some juice out of it that way.
Yeah, you can make an additional bet as a put bet, because they're technically 2 different bets. So the casino will be like, no, you can't make any more on this come bet. You're at table max. Okay, I want to put bet on it. Or, hey, you're at table max with this place bet on the 9. You're not allowed to bet anymore. Well, I want to put bet. So you can essentially get more money, more action on a number.
You know, I've never seen that. But boy, what a feeling
that road
that
game.
would
The
be.
guy you mentioned,
yeah, that guy. Yeah,
it is because he's playing at 20 times or 100 times table, and so he would get the benefit. I get to choose my number, and I get paid more than a place bet. I'm going to make put bets, but that's so rare, and you got to have a significant bankroll for a put bet to make sense. That's why it's rarely talked about.
Yeah, how often do you see anybody make the bet?
Never.
Yeah, I've had dealers try to tell me, hey, we do have the put bet here.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want my 2-to-1 shot at least.
Yeah.
You know.
I have seen some dealers are trying to explain, like, well, you should just make a come bet or a place bet, and they're like, no, but I want to make a bet on the 6, and they know, they've been trained by the casino. I want, my flat bet and odds, and the dealer just like, okay, whatever, and they'll just set it up, and they'll pay it as a come bet, where if it was a place bet, they would get paid more, but they're
right.
Like, the player doesn't understand, and they can't get talked into it. So they're just like, no, I want it with odds. And the dealer just goes, so I have seen that. So technically they've set them up as put bets, because the player was like, huh? Like, I don't want to place bet. I'm like, okay, well,
okay,
get paid less, I guess. That's fine.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Like I said, I've had people try to sell it to me, but I have never seen that one go. But here's another comment here from Brian. He asked, is there a number of rolls you would wait for to place a come bet, or do it after a point has been set? So I guess what he's talking, Brian, I guess what you're talking about is, do I wait for like a 5-point or whatever they call that, a certain number of rolls? Yeah. No, I just 5 count. Yeah, I just jump right in from the get-go. But that's me, because I feel like if it's going to be short rolls, then I get a little bit of a rebate because my come bet gets paid, which will pay for my next pass line. But yeah, I jump in right away. I don't wait and try to, because knowing my luck, the next, if I do it and miss a roll, and believe me, when I'm playing in the casino and I'm talking, I'm distracted by all the lights and the TVs. I can't tell you how many times I was like, oh crap, forgot to make my come bet. Especially if it was going to be off and on, that kind of thing. So, yeah,
the average roll
that's not me.
Lasts 8.5.
Yep.
Which means
some are less.
Yeah, it means about half of them are going to be less than 8 rolls. So
yeah,
the longer you wait, there is no such thing as due number, that is the 7 is due necessarily, but on average, Matt says it's going to be 8 rolls, which means a heck of a lot of rolls are going to be under 8, which means the longer you wait, you're either going to miss out by not betting them, or you're going to bet them, and it's going to be, you get all your bets up, and then
get whammed down.
So there's no right or wrong reason. The reason why some people wait is because they're like, well, for it to be a long roll, it's got to get past a certain number of rolls, right? So
right,
like, which is technically true, I guess. Like, you can't get to 10 if you don't get past 5. So if I wait for 5,
but on that pyramid, on the standard deviation,
it doesn't matter.
Need some 11s or 10. The very next roll, very
next roll is always 1 in 6 chance that the 7's going to end the roll. So that doesn't change, whether it's the 5th roll, the 20th roll, the 100th roll. it's always the same 1 and 6 that the game is going to end.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And here's another one. If you are a, dice influencer, believe in that kind of thing, then, they don't think the pyramid behind me doesn't apply to them, that they're not going to have that kind of pyramid, that they're going to push it, kick the can down the road, that they can control or influence. And yeah, if you believe in that, everybody's got different belly buttons and opinions. And believe me, every dice setter I play at the table with, I'm rooting hard for them. But
yeah, that's their whole goal, is to change that.
That's their whole goal.
Less sevens or whatever. Yeah. So,
or sevens at the right time, or they make the mistake at the right time.
Right.
On the come out, that kind of
or
thing.
Or they throw 4s and 10s for some reason really well. Then you'd want to bet on your 4 and 10, right?
Yep.
But yeah, as far as I know, no one has successfully made that as a professional living doing that yet. So
mm-hmm.
Here's one. I haven't read it all, but I think it is interesting, and I might have some kickback on it. John says, if you believe the math, the best bet is laying the 4 or 10, covering one way with the hard way. Then the only combo to lose is the easy way. I can set up where you make 100 or more a roll, and even make $40 on the 7 out. It amazes me that dice setter teachers don't use this strategy when there are 2 ways to throw versus 6 ways for 7. Prove me wrong. Most times, as I can make a quick. Okay, this is how I can prove you wrong. Every bet is an independent bet. So, a lay 4 and 10 is a good bet at whatever 1.47%, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A hard way bet is a very bad bet. In the long term, it will not pay off. It's either 9% or 11% house edge. Very poor bet. So over time, that hedge, although you're playing them in combination, it is a hedge. And yes, when you roll any hard way, you lose your lay, but you win back on your hard way.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense when it works out, but the more you play, that bad bet is not going to pay for itself. It just is. The hard way bet is a bad bet of either 9 or 11%.
No, it's 11.11.
11.11 for the 4 and 10. So the other ones are 9 something, right?
Yeah, the other two are 9. Hard way 6 and 8 is 9.
Okay, so 11.11%. You're in slot territory range with that very poor bet, and so you don't get to combine them and say, hey, I have this percent house. They're 2 independent bets, even though you're playing them together. Over time, that hard way bet is going to grind you down because they're paying you only 89% back. So that would be my argument for that. So that is the math of it. Now, in real life, yes, when it works out, great. But more, like you said, more often than not, you're going to roll the 7. You're going to win the lay bet, and that hard way bet just disappears.
Yeah,
every single time, and that's why it's a bad bet. So short term, it works out because it's like, ooh, save my bacon. But if you're talking about math, no.
Yeah, he says most of the time he can make a quick 500 before he loses the 2K. But
most of the time, I guess is the key word. Like, you're not doing I mean, if it was so great, get a backer and go at it, right? Make a living out of it. But you can't, because we just can't beat the math. And
also, 2,000 to win 500.
Yeah. Short term, hedges are nice when they work out, but long term, especially when you're hedging with a bad bet, like 11%. So there's my argument.
Okay.
I'm not going to prove you wrong, or I'm not going to change your mind, I'm guessing, but that would be mathematically, it's not the best way to do it.
All right, I got another one over here. I want to see if it'll let me balance you off. Come bets with max odds adds to bankroll volatility. 100% agree with you. Mm-hmm. If you're at a 10-time table or whatever, but if you're a place better and go out with four place bets, or if you go across, is it really that much more volatile to do them one at a time?
Well, maybe it depends, like where you're at. So, $10 player, I'm done at 44 inside.
Yeah.
You're at $10 with
3, 4, 5, whatever.
Yeah, so your bets are 40, $50 or $60,
yeah.
and there's 3 of them. So yeah, I'm done at 44. Yeah. You have 3 numbers at 9. You're at
so many combinations.
You're at almost $200. I'm at 44.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it depends because we're trying to compare them by me saying like, hey, to compare them properly, the Come Better with Odds is a $40 bet. So to compare it properly, I would make a $40 place bet, but I don't. If the table minimum is $10, I'm only starting at $10, and then I'm going to, if it hits, I'm going to bump it up to whatever 15, then 20, or some, like you mentioned, some people are aggressive and will go straight up. But so yeah, we were making them the same side just for comparison reason, but it can be cheaper actually to be a place better. It just depends on how you like to play, but
yeah,
odds is all about volatility, and sometimes it works for you and sometimes against you.
Yeah.
Mathematically, the odds are in the come bet's favor in the short term as well. ? Is he asking us?
Yeah, I think he's just saying that you said we don't play in the long term, we play in the short term. But that particular moment in time, because the dice don't know if it's long term or short term, it's each roll is independent.
Well, technically, like if you added odds, you're at a 0.5% bet. So you have a 0.5% bet on the 5. I have a 4% bet on the 5. Short term, you have made a better bet than me, technically, I guess. But if it loses, we both lose at all. And if it wins, we both win. I'm going to get paid more as a place better. So yes, technically, in the short term as well, the math, it is technically a better bet.
And again, the delay of me getting the come bets one at a time up, where you might go, 2 or 4 across immediately.
Yeah.
So
it's just
it depends.
They really, we try to compare them, but they're
different.
very different. They're very different bets,
yeah.
And they really can't be compared fairly. So we like to have some arguments about it, but there's no way to completely fairly.
No, it's not a fair comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one is, Matthew says, hey, if you're worried about the math, then you shouldn't even play.
Yeah.
I've
heard that before.
You gotta be a little bit worried about the math, but if you don't want to play, you don't want to play.
Yeah. I mean, the slot players, the math is not as good as a, roulette or blackjack or baccarat or craps or just about every other game, but they're going to have fun. So if they were worried about the math, yes, don't play for sure. I mean, that's the gamble.
Oh yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I would say that I don't know of another form of entertainment that will let you get your money back or walk away with extra money.
Okay.
I went go-karting. The money just went one way. I didn't get
it.
I came in 3rd place on one race. They didn't give any money back.
Right. Okay.
I didn't win a prize. I didn't, when you go out to eat, movies.
No.
You're not, you don't get money back at other forms of entertainment. So that's why we play.
So that's why we're playing that, on some places sometimes. You can win a free cruise, right?
Yeah,
win a free cruise.
Yeah.
Although I did like this comment the best by Weary Buyer. The professor's right. You should never argue with the professor. No, I'm teasing. That would be fun. But no, Ken, I appreciate it. But that's, it's belly buttons. Everybody's got a belly button and an opinion about things. And again, it goes back to your risk comfort. And if you are, impatient and greedy, then go ahead and be a place better. But if you got patience and you're not too greedy, you don't worry about the little extra money.
I see you put up his comment about the professor always being right, but then he's saying in his personal experiences evolving, he's liking place bets. Oh, that are replaced by come bets. Okay, so he's starting to combo it.
A little mix and match. That's right. A little mix and match. Yeah. And I will say this, Ken, I've done a couple 10 times odds tables. And even at a $10 table, I feel like I'm sweating bullets.
$110 bet?
Oh, my God. I've done it. I've done it. Only when I'm up, I've done it. But yeah, I keep bumping up the odds. Sometimes I'll even get greedy and do a field bet. Let's see. Do you
turn your bets on while the puck is off? Which is better? If you could see the future, you would know which is better. Mathematically, it makes zero difference.
Zero.
So,
but how many people follow the puck?
Yeah, I'm a follow the puck guy. So yeah, I mean, you're good or bad if you do or you don't. So if you turn your bets on and you roll a number, great, because you get paid and it was working. If you turn your bets on and the 7 rolls, dang it, you lost your money and had your bets working. So the 7 is 1 in 6 every time, whether the puck is on or off. So you want to miss out on a roll, or do you want to take advantage of it? My only thought on that is every long roll has 7s. They just happen when the puck is off. So that's why I don't work my bets. Because if you see a 30 roll, there was a 7 in there, and I didn't lose my bets when the puck was off, because that's when that 7 happened. It happened on roll 13, or it happened on roll 6 and 8, but the puck was off. There are some... but it's super rare that you get like a long roll, which is what most of the light side players are home for. 20 plus. Yes.
But I will tell you this, Jeremy, if you did turn your bets on and you did, the come out roll was a 7 and they did take them down, there's not a casino I know of in the country that will not allow you to replace them.
You can replace them.
You can replace them. So, it's
there. But you just took a hit, right?
Yeah, took a hit.
If they were placed up or pressed up or whatever.
You would take a bigger hit.
Yeah, that's why the math, it doesn't matter whether it's on or off. It just you're either waiting a roll or you're not waiting a roll. Anytime you're waiting a roll, your
not at
bankroll's
risk.
You're not at risk, so your bankroll's protected. So, a little bit better. But you have no chance to win either. So
okay.
Yeah.
And then this one came in from Cadillac Jack. Why risk 5 to win 1? On the come out is my opinion. So what are we talking about there? I'm trying to follow you, Cadillac Jack. Why risk 5 to win 1 on the come out is my opinion.
Yeah, I don't got an answer.
Is it 1-1?
We need more context. Yeah.
Yeah, I need some more info on that one for us, Jack. If you got a chance, throw the comment up.
I'm trying to think like if he's a don't guy.
Oh, he just threw something else up. Let's see. He said 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 6 place bets.
Okay, I guess he's saying if he has all the numbers covered and you're working them.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I see. Now you figured it out. Yeah, I think that's what he meant.
So it's like, why would you put all those at risk
to win 1?
To win 1 of them.
Yeah, I got it. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then Nemo jumped in.
I guess the reason would be is because you have however many combinations versus 6. You have a big advantage.
Yeah, and then the other thing, aren't you risking those 5 to win 1 on every roll? I mean, you can only win on one bet at a time.
Once the puck's up, you can only win 1 at a time. You're always at that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Nemo said...
Neo just hopped in at the end of the show.
Yeah, he said always follow the puck. Yeah, always follow the puck.
And then Road 9 to 10 just said what you said. You do that with every goal. Yeah. You're always risking... If you have more numbers covered, you're always risking more.
Oh, yeah, that's true. More numbers, more problems. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a great way to play would be to pick one number and bet on it, but I mean, no one has the patience for that.
Very rarely.
But that would be lower volatility. Just bet a 6 and 8 for 1.52%, or bet
or one come bet.
Just be one and add odds. Yeah, and then just wait. I mean, whether your one come bet or continues.
Someday my ship will come. Yeah.
You talk about time at table. I guess that would be it, but you might fall asleep.
And speaking of fall asleep, guess who's saying good night?
Yep. We need to wrap this up. We've been
wrap
in
it up.
For 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Did we promise anything for next week? I don't think we did.
Yeah, you did, I think.
But
I mean, you said that we would do it next week.
Oh, yeah. Well, we should. Thanksgiving week is this week for most people, so enjoy that. And we should be back Sunday
night.
Little post recap of nothingness. I don't know.
You doing any traveling for the holidays?
No, my traveling's done. At least through November, so I'll be home. That the kids are coming in, I think.
Excellent.
I don't plan on gambling, but maybe I should.
The kids are coming in. Maybe I'll go out and gamble.
Yeah.
Sounds like an empty nester to me.
And then I got a cruise coming up shortly that I'm, on the days too. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks for watching. We will see you next week.
Au revoir.